prophet Haggai and the restoration to its original format. And they do look a lot like poetry when they're done. So let's get started here. Like I said, I broke some of this down so I could start getting the pattern and to find what this should be. And this seems to be a 4-verse. That's pretty simple and plain right there. And it's the second year for Darius our king. They're still from Babylon, okay? He's a king, our king in Babylon. Just so everybody knows where the text is coming from. I mean, to understand where the story is, how it's related. Because if there is 2 Denariuses in the Bible, different times, but that's just confusing because that's not true. I cheated. I read a little bit farther. I'm going to show you something startling. Then it was a prophecy from YV, from prophet Haggai, something, to this guy here. Don't get me started on this one. In fact, if later, I would probably just take that part off so we can pronounce his name. And it's also here I took out, he's a son from such and such. This didn't fit the format. And what I want to do is show you, or I'll let you know that this is saying a governor. When they were returning, they really don't, the text that says they returned like 200 years later talks about these guys and stuff like that. So it's hard to trust that when I know the text and they returned sooner than that. And the thing here is I wanted to mention this King Darius here in Babylon. He's the one that put Daniel in the lion's den, okay? And he also witnessed everything that happened to Nebuchadnezzar. Now, why is he the king that came after Nebuchadnezzar? Now, when it comes down to the prophecy of Nebuchadnezzar's dream of 5 kingdoms, people have a hard time finding the 5th one. And that's because this king only lived for a couple years when you really find out the text. And I believe that this is the 2nd kingdom. It was strong but coming down. And then Cyrus was the next, something like that, is the next king, and he became the king of Persia. Or he was the king that maybe, because I know the Assyrians made a deal with Babylon. History doesn't say it, but the text our creator has given us, showing his secret or his hidden format in the text. That's my website below in the comment section or in the description. I think they were made an agreement that after the kingdom gets established under Babylon, to save all the unfighting, they joined together, and then whoever was king after Nebuchadnezzar and this guy here was supposed to be the next king, okay? And then you have Persia, and then you have Rome, okay? And that's the 5 kingdoms, or 4 after Nebuchadnezzar. But the object here is you have to know who this guy is, and you really to understand the reason why they were sent back and why would they want to rebuild the house for our creator. And that's because of what happened to Nebuchadnezzar. When he come back out of eating grass for a few years, not 7 years, a few years, that he declared our creator as the only creator, and he is watching over the earth, and everybody is to obey or follow Daniel's creator. So you also have to know that Babylon didn't have their calendar set. They had it set differently. I don't think there's any text really that says that. But in the 1611 preface, the text says that the 1611 preface guys that put that stuff in there, they were so happy and glad that the first emperor of Rome changed the calendar that our creator had set up to set it with the pagans setting of the winter solstice. But it means that at the time Jesus was there, that they were under a different calendar system, which would have been all of Babylon had to have that calendar system, not just the small little territory called the Promised Land. And that was set up by Nebuchadnezzar to change it to the calendar. Now, why these things are important is because the king of Egypt, or the guy, I think they were ruling as a group, 5 of them was ruling as a group over Egypt at that time. And when they heard about him coming back and they knew these changes was going on, they were hearing all the stuff that was happening to Nebuchadnezzar, that when they established it, they too knew that the king just wouldn't do that unless this really happened to him. So they were impressed that a creator was actually showing himself off to the king of the greatest nation in the Western Hemisphere, and they sent Ezra back to rebuild. Now this text is talking about being there in rebuilding Jerusalem. So you have to remember they were sent to do this. They were sent with Nebuchadnezzar's articles that he took, or from our creator's house, the utensils, the plates, the silver and gold items, and put them in his treasury, and he sent them back. Okay. Now, here the text starts out a little weird. A prophecy from YHVH from prophet Haggai to this guy here, who I'm just saying. Just a second, I need to take this. Boy, these people end up lying all the time. Hello, is somebody there? Oh, we had your number. We thought it was you. And then they want to talk to me like, you liars. Oh, dishonest people. And the boss is making them do that too. Anyways, let's get on with this. This guy, it says that he was born in Babylon after many years. Well, that's just not true. I mean, if you go look it up, because anyways, they didn't really have a governor. Okay, they had a leader, because it was just to rebuild Jerusalem, even though all the tribes were allowed to come back and settle into all their lands from wherever they were at. They would not have been a governor. He would have been the leader, okay? Leader, because the people that come to them and stop them from building, if you know the story, they send messages back and forth to King Daenerys and things trying to tell them to stop. And it was the one that was on the other side of the Jordan, on the east side, that started this. They came over as a group, and that guy was the governor over all the area. They were sent back to Jerusalem. So unless that guy is actually somebody that was a governor of the area, and he isn't an Israeli, then this is just, anyways, I shouldn't have said anything, but I'm just saying he couldn't have been the governor. The other guy was the governor, because he was able to send a note to the king, and the king read it and then sent a message back to tell him to stop, and back and forth. And then I think it was Daniel that wrote back and told him the whole history of what happened. And then when they looked up, they said, get building. So he's the leader for the Israelis that were there. Okay. Sorry to go into all this explanation, but sometimes you have to understand the story. And here's what's weird, is that you have 4 group and you have 2, and then here's 2 and this is 4. I mean, this hooks to this unless one of these isn't true. And then we have to figure out who it is. If he sent it to the leader, and I'm trying to think of the text, I'm going to say it was this guy was leader, but this is different, I think, than our Creator's hidden format. But because I think it was the high priest that was in charge, and that would have been this guy here. That was in charge. So I don't know why they got this son in here, but the objects here is, well, let's leave this here a second, because down here it now starts all over again. Thus says YV, this is up here. And I got rid of all those. Anything in blue and small is getting thrown out. This people says the time has not yet come for the house for YV to be rebuilt. This is just not true. They were sent to rebuild the house. Okay, that's why he is the high priest. Okay, you can't have a high priest without somebody saying, let's build a place. So this here text is corrupt right off the bat. So that's why I'm going to save that. But I've got to divide this a little bit, so when I see it later, I know what's starting to be corrupt. He would not say this. He actually caused so much problem in Babylon, or made himself known in Babylon, that he knew they were being sent back, okay, saying it's not time. But if you say this people says it's not time to come, it's the ones from across the Jordan that came over and said. So I have to be careful here that I just can't throw it all out. But this people says the house for our Creator cannot be rebuilt. Okay, and this is, you know what? If I put down something like, at this time, the governor of the area came and stopped, because it's this people. Now, I know they put a lot of crap and they changed a lot of words, and it's a guessing game as to which words need to be really corrected and which words are true. It would have been these people, okay? These, and I'm not sure what these people say. These people were saying. We're saying, because they did stop, okay? They did stop, and then it had to go back and forth. So there's this time that messengers had to be sent. The king had to search the archives, send the scholars there, come back, and you know, they're 700 miles away. So it's just something that's not easy for this news to come back and forth within a couple days. But the object here is this: is people were, because I know the story, and it's going to have to be at this time these people were saying, the time has not come to rebuild Jerusalem. Or his house. So I guess time has not yet come for the house. Oops. For the house for YV to be rebuilt. Now that's true. Now this all becomes, that's absolutely true. Okay. But this would not be, see, we already have it here. And it's got two, this guy and this guy. And this would almost have to be like this then. But that's pretty odd that it would section up like that. But if we do that, then we have this matches. YV heard. YV didn't say. YV heard. That's there we go. Now we got it. To Zebulun, leader of Israelis, and to Joshua, our high priest. Okay. Now it's not separated. Now it's back here where the text is correct. These people heard these people saying, the time has not yet come for the house. The time has not come for you to rebuild the house for our Creator. It could be rewritten differently later, but it's come for us to be rebuilt. Okay. Now we've got this corrected, because this was throwing me off up here. Why would he just say it again when? So the answer, the truth is why we heard these people saying, the time has not come. Okay. And I'll get to that later. I'm going to highlight, I'm going to try to do some work offline, because I know this is 2 chapters, so it's going to take a little bit. Okay, now see, this is a double, and it's not, he heard them say, so what's this answer? What's his reply? Now we have a section that this is starting to change. The word Haggai, while this house lies desolate, now therefore says, why we consider your ways? You have sown much and harvest little, and eat not satisfied. This is not true. They were just sent. He sent them down there. So this is nothing. This is not true. Why would you dwell in paneled houses? They haven't got that far yet. They just arrived and they're starting to build. They literally, within weeks of getting there, they didn't have time to rebuild everybody else's houses. This doesn't make any sense. They couldn't do a harvest yet. Okay. And they most likely were buying and trading because they had the money to do so. But you know what? This looks like a format, though. I don't want to throw these things just out the door for no pan. It's time for yourselves to dwell. Well, that is just not true. Let me do this. Let me put it in yellow. And I'm not going to correct. There is drink, but not enough to become drunk. Wait a second. I think that's still. And then that becomes. I guess this would be here. Whoops, not that. This color here. Okay. And this is just that. But because right now there's not enough text here to tell me when the time is or give a specific situation to say that they got the text from someplace else. Go up to the mountains and bring wood and rebuild the temple. No, you got to understand this text. There's no mountains in Israel, by the way. There is no mountains. I mean, they can look up and see the mounts of Jordan. I mean, the whole battle right now, and when Syria wants to come try to do problems with Israel, they go onto the Golden Heights and they fire down. Well, the war happened and they don't have the Golden Heights right now, but they were shooting down at Israel. Moses looked down from one of those mountains upon the hill country. There is no mountains, okay? That's just stupid. And our Creator would know this. And not rebuild the temple, it's his house for meeting with him. So the word temple is not. That I may be pleased with and glorify. Okay, this is just, no. Look for much, behold, come when you bring it home. This is just, which lies desolate while each runs his own house. No. Therefore, because the skies would tell this too. No, there was no famine. They didn't do no famine. He was happy they were back building because that's what he sent them to do, to reestablish, for Jesus to come into Jerusalem. I mean, got to understand he's, anyways. And I called for a drought in the land and the grain, new wine, and oil, the cattle. There's probably some of this in here, but I'm not going to go on. Now this is for group, but where is the text that they obeyed? Because I changed it so they're saying that he heard, not said. So maybe this is the end and the other text is missing. All the remnant of the people obeyed their Creator. And the words from Haggai the prophet as sent to him. The people showed reference for YV. Then Haggai, the messenger, by commission. No, this is. That isn't right. But this is getting up to where it should be up in here. Those people there now, in all this. Like I said, that might be the very end then. This would be a double because it doesn't need to be said. Well, I'm seeing that there has to be something hooked to this verse, to those two verses. Somewhere there's two verses here that makes sense. This I'm just going to put in yellow for right now, so I don't keep going back and trying to reread that. And the words of Haggai the prophet, as YV their creator, the people showed reference for YV. And Haggai spoke. Spoke to the people, saying, I am with you, declares YV. I'm trying to see what's up here. Because he went to the leader and to Zebulun, or Joshua, Zerubbabel, Zerub. All I can see is that there's words missing that maybe Haggai then to them, and then they were to come before the people and gather the people, because this is a message from our Creator. It would be pretty important because he's now starting to talk to them again as a people. To the people saying, I am with you, declares YV. Okay. And they, because they got there already, so I can't say they came and they worked on his house. Now on the, see how it's broke again here? So Ivy had stirred up there. So Ivy not stirred up, strengthened them. YV strengthen their spirits, meaning more than one. Let's see. I got to go back here to the top here. So we got this guy and this guy. Okay. Because all this is going to get, because we already established who they are, so it's just a double. And Joshua. And this is just a repeat, so it doesn't need to be there. It gets a capital. Love is correct. He strengthened their spirits of Zerub and Joshua and everyone one now it's like every one of the returning captives, and then it would be the remnant of the people that were on the land. They would have got excited too, and the remnant of not the people, our people. Let's make it first person, like, oh, we're here, we're doing this. Okay, so this here has to be everyone of everyone returning to our land. I'm sure this is how they would have said it. And they would still say it's our land, but it's not really their possession to rule over. And everyone returning to our land and the remnant of our people. They worked on his house. They worked on his house. And a lot of people don't get it, but our Creator labeled it, the house when he said to Moses, "Build a tent for meeting with me." There's a whole why it's set up. It's not a temple, it's a house, and it was set up for meeting, for his house. Okay, worked on the house for meeting with YV, our Creator. No, this needs to be green, but because this is part of the house, and I'll do that as well. They worked on the house for meeting Creator. And I would say, well, I'm going to go here, and we started on, See how that works out here? We started on the 24th day of the 6th month. I do like this text being split like this. I really do. So before I get carried away here, I'm going to go back up here and do the same thing. But for the simple fact that this is, and if the text needs to be moved around, and I'm going to put, I got to just grab this here because it's already done. Why do it twice? Okay. Okay, that sounds better. That sounds like it's correctly grouped. But here, this has got to be cleaned up there. But let me get going here. Okay, not bad, because we just got started on chapter 2 here. First, came to Haggai the prophet, saying, "Now speak to Zebulun." So now this is what needs to be put up there, and to the remnant. And then all of a sudden he said, "Say, then, okay, let me get." We'll see. Okay, I just need to go up here. That's going to save some time. So I got it right. It has the word governor, high priest. Yeah, it says it's the same thing. So and to the remnant of the people say, see, I know this is confusing. I'm sure that this is all going to be way back up at the beginning, and not that it took 21 days. Or was the 6th or something, then the 6th month or 9th or 6th, something in the worst. Yeah, because this is not, because there's no story in here that I was telling you about before, how they stopped them building, except for at the beginning. And this is a double. We know who's doing all this. And I would say the word "go to" Zerubbabel. and to the remnant of the people. To the remnant of the people. Say, who is left among you? Okay. Who is left among you who saw this temple in its former glory? Okay. Now, that text is saying there's no 200 years in between, okay? This is key. This would be, and it's not temple, it would be my house. Would be this, it would be my. To the remnant of the people, saying, who is left among you who saw my house in its former glory? Now, you remember, Solomon said they built him for a forever house. Okay. David had 80,000 hewers. I don't think he had that many, but hewers aren't going around picking up stones. When you read the four Gospels, you'll find the stories of how they were commenting on the stones on the house. Well, they were actually hewed out blocks of granite. And what color was the granite? Okay. You have to go back to Moses and find out. Moses told him to build the house or build the tent from ram skins and goat skins, and those were white hides, so white stones, or white granite, and that's by Hebron and not Jerusalem. Jerusalem has red granite quarry near it. And to the remnant of the people, say, who among you is who is left among you who saw my house in its former glory? So you can see that they went to Babylon and then they returned pretty quick. Now, I want to show you something here. When I did my study, and it took years to get these kings right, but going over Ezra and Haggai here and some of the stories that do contain them returning, we have Daniel going to when he went to Babylon. I figured out he had to be 14 to 16 years old. And then when he's about 40 years old, he starts to rebuild the house. So this is only maybe 20, 25 years. And I know the story says that something about 7 weeks is something that's in Daniel. Well, we have a better number if we actually know that it was Denarius who sent Daniel back. Daniel would have been the one that would have been the true governor or the true leader down there while he was alive, to start the rebuilding. So this here that you're seeing goes with the rebuilding. Okay. This story here that we've got, it does give, whoops, I got that one set up to work on a little later. I gotta make a PDF and add that in there so you can get these in PDFs as well. But I gotta get my website up and running. And I'm busy talking to them. Something's happened down there. And to the remnant of the people, say, who is left among you who saw my house in its former glory? And how you see it, and how you see it now. Does it not seem like nothing in comparison? But now take courage. This guy here declares YHVH, and you take courage also, so high priest, and all you people of the land, in your land, in your land. Take courage and work for I am with you. As for the promise which I made you when you came out of Egypt, in your midst, do not fear, for this is YHVH. Once more, in a little while, I am going to shake the heavens and the earth. Well, he's not shaking, going to shake the earth and the sea and the dry land. This is just nope. And I will shake all the nations and kingdoms. The nations there, because these need to be kingdoms. I try to explain the difference between what a nation is and a kingdom. I hope I don't have to repeat that. I think I said that in this one before. And they will come with their wealth from all their kingdoms. And we know that that is not true, so, but I think I can edit that. And I will fill this house with glory. And I don't know why you would want to fill the house. And rebuild this house, yes, like its former glory. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine. Now that is not really what's going on, but and the later glory of this house will be greater than its former. And he doesn't need to keep saying who he is. Now that he might say. Okay. And in this place, I will give them peace. Oops, here. On the 24th, the 9th month, in the second year of Denarius. Now, see here, YHVH came to Haggai. So this is YHVH. Now ask the priest for a ruling. A man carries holy meat in the fold of his garment and touches bread with the fold of cooked wine, and his fold will become holy, and the priest will answer no. That's a lie. There ain't nothing there. That's why I'm saying garbage has to be thrown out. This bullshit that they got in here like this, like if a man carries holy meat, what's holy meat? What is holy meat? Okay. I mean, okay. Then Haggai said, Now ask the priest for a ruling. If one who is unclean from a corpse and touches any of these, touches any of this work, in other words, the work that they're doing, will the latter become unclean? And the priest answer is saying it will become unclean. True. And Haggai, I don't need to say this, is unless it's okay, I see it's being relayed. Message is being relayed. So is this people. And so is this. And that's got to be corrected because that's just not true. And he doesn't have to keep saying this. This is almost like it's after the house is built. But now do consider that from this day onward, before one block, one block is placed in the. See, what they did was they came and they burnt the house down. Now, if it's made out of granite block, what burnt down? Well, the roof for our Creator's house. Let me show you something because this is really interesting. When you go and you look in your text to find out what kind of roof our Creator's tent had, and then you have to say that they did the same for his house. You would find that these guys took that information and removed it. But when you study the text like I do, or did, you change one word right here to arches. And this is Exodus. Let's see if you guys can see the top. No. Sorry. Okay. Exodus 26:16 starts out 10 cubics on each side, and it talks about how these boards are going to be built. Okay, this is how the boards. This is what the roof looked like. It's a hip roof. Okay, but you have to change this word to arches, or you would never get this 5 boards on one side. It's not the tabernacle; it's the tent, and 5 boards on the other side for the middle. I had to put the middle. There has to be one in the middle. And then you actually know you're looking at. Let me get me out of here so you can actually see. That is what the tent for meeting. That's what and this is what the house looked like. But you have to change this one word, and then the story becomes truer. Okay, so you're witnessing some breaking news history because you ain't gonna find that in anything on any Google search. It's just not there. But that's why you see the sides of the tent overlapping so much. It's because they didn't know what to do with the other, because the sizing of the sewn together roof of hides it's very descriptive, and that's why it's so long on the sides. But that would take it up if you put it right here. So the thing here is that's the truth here. But what we have here is more truth here being revealed here. So this nation comes before me. So these So our tribes come before me. Okay, therefore one block was placed on another. Before one block was placed on another. For else or a meeting with now that's the truth. Okay. From that time when one came to a grain heap of 20 measures, there would only be 10. And when one came with wine vat to draw 50 measures, there would only be, what the, this doesn't make any sense. This is out. This I smote you and the work of your hands by blasting the winds and mildew of the hail, and you did not come back to me, declares YV. He knows he sent him away. Do you consider this day onward? Consider this day onward. 24th day of Elmo, the day when was founded. Consider this seed. Consider the seed still in the barn, even including the vine and the fig tree and the pomegranate and olive tree. It has not borne fruit from the day. It has not borne fruit. It is not born, it hasn't been fruitful, but the object yet from this day on I will bless you. Now, this, they were remnant in the land, so those that were left over were supposed to be those that our Creator knew that they had followed him. He made sure he killed off all those that were having that sex practice with the female goddess, as Malachi 1:11 says. Yet from this day on I will bless you. Then the word Lord came a second time to Haggai on the 20th of the month, saying, speak to government, saying, I'm going to shake the heavens and the earth, and I will overthrow the thrones of the kingdom, and destroy the power of the kingdoms and all the nations, and I will overthrow the chariots and their rider, and their horses with their riders will go down. Everyone by the sword of another. On that day, declares one of our hosts, I will make them the son of my servant, declares YV, and I will make you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you. Okay, all this is just garbage. Okay. now comes, I gotta put this again and reread it, and I'm going to capitalize the letters that need what our creator is saying and get back with it. But it's been an hour. Yep, 1 hour exactly. So I like to try to stop them here, just because we got through it. We're getting closer to the format. I'd like to show the format, but there's too much work to it. It's got to be cleaned up and looked at and re-examined. So I'm going to clean it up and at least take some of that time off. But you got to listen to why I'm editing certain words the way I was editing. Better save it here before I stop. Let me get started on the next video here.